Hi everyone, Steve here. I just want to tell you about my bad story, I guess, about losing £10,000 trading over the space of about 8 months. I mean, none of that money was mine either. I had about 3 credit cards. I was basically just trying to score about $1,400 to pay off my credit card, but I ended up going in a downward spiral of more debt. I only had 1 credit card to start with. I ended up getting another 2, and I just kept basically adding more money onto the trading site, trying to pay off this original money, but I just kept getting more and more in debt. So I'm just going to run you over a few of the basics of where I went wrong, and basically my story over the last 8 months, which was April 2019 to November 2019. Okay, so the platform that I used was eToro. Now I have nothing against this platform. I still think this is a brilliant platform to use, and I will continue to use this platform in a copy trading sense, which is what this YouTube channel is going to be focusing on. So one thing I want to quickly discuss, I'll just randomly choose Uber. I just want to show you on any stock really. There's a couple of theories that I had at the time to try and make some money. One of them was having tight stop losses. So really tight stop losses, like 5 or 10% less than the break-even price, which is a bit ridiculous when you think of it now, or when I think of it now rather. But basically the idea is, so if I, for example, if I put on a buy position here and have a top profit, say maximum top profit, so it doesn't cut out on the profit at all, but I put a stop loss of 5%. So in this scenario, if I put it on here, that would have worked out fine because it wouldn't have gone down at all. If it had gone down even a little bit, it would have taken 5% of whatever I put on. But obviously in this case, if I had put it on here, I would have just got all the money. Like this would basically be the ideal the ideal outcome of this tight stop loss approach. The idea is that it doesn't go down even a little bit, because if it does, then it's cancelled, it's closed. And then the idea of it just going up. Tight stop loss that I'm talking about is in a buy position scenario. So if you used to have done it here, then that's fine. If you had held out all this time, then yeah, that would have worked. If you put it here, obviously no. So it's, the thought was there, obviously, but I just don't think. It didn't work. Like probably 90% of the time, it just failed. Another theory that I had at the time was opening both a buy position and a sell position. So let's take this point again, for example, if I would have done that here. So I open a buy and a sell here. Obviously, what's this on a 30-minute time? So each candle represents 30 minutes. So if I bought a buy and a sell here, it would have been fine for the buy, and maybe I would close that buy here and make a bit of profit. I'll still have a sell position though, and I'd be in the red because it would have gone from here to here, so I'd be in the red here. And at this point, now you've only got a sell position open, you could add another buy in hopes that it goes up, or you can add another sell and have 2 sells. Basically, there is a way to do it, and this worked about 50% of the time, but it was hard to sort of keep track of because you'd have to keep adding positions to maintain this buy and sell position on the same company. So in theory it worked, and in practice it kind of worked, but it was a bit risky, especially if it went too much in one direction, because then whatever position. Say if it went all the way up here, your sell position would still be down here, and you'd have lost loads of money. Out of the two, that's probably the better option the better theory that I had. But
still, none of these theories worked.
Okay, so another thing I want to show you guys quickly is my cash flow over the last 8 months from April 2019 to November 2019. Just how addicted and how deluded and stupid I was. So, I mean, just look at these numbers. So, I mean, these ones here are all in one day. Okay. And then there's a whole bunch more here. And it's only at that point where I thought, well, I've lost a lot of money now, I'm going to withdraw it all. And 5 days later, once the money's back in my account, I put it all back in. Addicted to the whole trading process and wanting to make money. Deposited more, kept depositing over and over and over again until the very end where I withdrew what I had left. There's no logic behind it at all. It's just pure addiction, impulse, trying to make money. The other thing I want to show you quickly is the amount of trades I did. I think doing so many quick trades can be quite detrimental. So over the period of 8 months, I did 919 trades. Just getting in and out very quickly. Usually making a loss. And as soon as it does go green, even if it's like $5, I'd take it because, it's green. That's just the weird psychology that I had. Even if it was $1,000 in the red, I'd just leave it there, hoping that it would, go back to break even or green. Averaging 28.5 trades per week. At one point, that was a lot higher. I think it was like 40. It's just not good. Way too many trades. Just trying to make a quick buck, but just losing the money instead. So that's another thing which had my downfall. Just way too many trades, getting too greedy, too excited about potentially gaining some money, which did not pay off. Here's a quick look at my stats for 2019. Started in April, minus 25%, May minus 30, minus 55, minus 43, minus 58. At this point, I kind of gave up a bit. I think I drew some money out, just did a little tiny bit here and there. And then I put a huge amount on, and then I finally quit solo trading between November and December, mid-November, I think it was. So yeah, very, very, very bad experience. No one to blame but myself. Okay, so my first big mistake was just not knowing how to trade. I didn't have any knowledge of it. I thought I would totally skip the virtual account system that eToro has, where they basically give you 100,000 virtual dollars, and you can just trade day to day like you would any other day, but there's all virtual money, so if you lose it all, nothing's going to go wrong. There's going to be no bad effects to it. As I was $1,400 in debt originally, and that was my plan to try and get rid of that debt, I thought, well, I don't have time really to be using a virtual account. Once if I make loads of money, I'm going to be, kicking myself that I didn't use a real account. So I thought, no, I'm not going to use a virtual account at all. I'm just going to go straight to the real account, which is what I did. So with no real knowledge of trading other than, you can put money on to make it, to want it to go up, or you can put money on it to want it to go down. That's basically all I knew, but I thought, well, it can't be that difficult, surely. So I'm going to take you over to one of my biggest losses of a trade. I have about 4 or 5 big loss trades over the past 8 months. So one of them was Pinterest. So at the moment, you're looking at this on a 1-day chart. So every candle represents 1 day in time. So it got to about here when I saw it, and I was like, oh, Pinterest is just skyrocketing up. And as I was very new to this, to be honest, I didn't really use the candles a lot. I didn't really use the graphs a lot. I just looked at the numbers on the portfolio, which shows you what you're trading and what number it's currently on. So to be honest, for the first few months, I didn't even use the graphs. So that's one of the first things where I went wrong. I didn't do any analysis. I didn't look at any of the patterns on the graphs or anything like that. And if I did, obviously I would have seen this and not sort of betted it to go up, which is what I did. So I put, I think it was about $2.5 grand for it to go up. And that was on this day here. And obviously, instead of going up, I just saw my money start to go in the red drastically. And then I think it cut out in the same day. So it hit my stop loss, my 50% stop loss. And I lost about, I think it's like $1 grand, $1.5 grand, something like that. And, considering I only needed 1,400 originally to get out of it, losing pretty much that entire lot again. So now I'm double the amount in debt. It was not a good feeling. I experienced a lot of stress really quickly. I just hated myself, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have to tell my partner as well. It's just gonna be so bad. Okay, let's have a quick look at the next one. So the next one was Tesla. Let's see, whereabouts was this? Okay, so again, this is the 1-day candle chart of Tesla. And I believe it was about here, this point here. I knew in my heart of hearts that it was going to go down. So I thought, because it just kept fluctuating between 256 and 230. So it's maybe around this area. So it just kept going up and down, it seemed. So I thought, well, I'm going to sell it at 250 because it's probably going to go down to 230 again. And probably even lower based on the graph and what other people were saying, as it's a social trading website. So people were giving their own input as well, which can be a good or a bad thing. It's hard for me to comment on that. So yeah, that was my plan, to put on a sell on Tesla, and that's what I was going to do in my heart of hearts. But on that day, I actually had a drink around my mother-in-law's house. I think we were celebrating a birthday party for my sister-in-law. And I thought, well, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to have any drinks because I know I need to do this later. I need to be aware and awake, and so I don't make any silly decisions. But I ended up having a drink. So as I was drinking, I put the trade on for it to a sell position trade. But then it started going up. So I was going in the red, and I was like, oh wait, hold on. And because I was under the influence of alcohol, I was just like, well, I wasn't thinking straight. I was like, well, it's obviously going up, so I'm going to quickly cancel that trade and put on a buy position. Obviously, after that, it started going down, but because it was in quite a deep red, because as you can see, it's jumped down quite a lot here. So I think it was the next day, it just dropped down massively. And I was in really deep red. So I was just hoping and praying, basically, that it would go up. And I didn't cancel it. I just left it. I thought, well, it's got to go up. It can't be any worse than it is. I'm in a lot of red already. And I think this particular trade was a similar amount to the Pinterest one. So again, that was like $2 grand. And long story short, I just let that carry on going until it pretty much hit my stop loss. I mean, I think I cut out a little bit before, but it was essentially at a 50% loss. So again, I lost another $1,500 here. And it's unfortunate as well, because when it actually got to about here, I actually thought, well, it's definitely going to go up now. And it did. Obviously it's gone from here to here. But, I kept getting scared. I kept pulling out every now and again. And, I should have just left it in. You're not thinking with your mind, so to speak. It's just your emotions getting the better of you. And, I guess I'm an emotional person. If I see it going close to the stop loss or see it going anywhere like that, logically you should just leave it in, as long as it's going in the right direction based on, news or anything like that, some sort of outside source telling you where it's going to go. which gives you an indication where it's going to go. You should just leave it to a degree. Set your mentally or physically set your stop loss and your max profit. I just kept stopping it and then having a new one stopping it. Probably did it about 5 times in this period from here to here. Just kept stopping and starting, stopping and starting. So I was getting scared and worried. And as soon as I see it in the green, it's like, yeah, stop it, take that profit. But obviously that wasn't the right thing to do. Let's have a look at the next one. So another one, famously, well, not famously, but in my mind, famously beyond. So again, a 1-day chart. So I think it was about here. It's at 125. So it jumped massively from 100 to 125. So I thought, well, that's definitely got to go down. That's way too high. So I put on a sell position. Got to about here, somewhere around here. I'm not too sure, to be honest. And that cut my 50% loss, stop loss. So I lost half of the trade, whatever I put on there. I thought, I'll do it again. So it's obviously got to go down. I can't just, it's really high now. It's got to go down. And I did it again. Lost another 50%. Basically got on this whole spike here. There's 2 or 3 big trades and it hit my stop losses on all of them. So I lost a lot of money here. Because at the time it just didn't make sense. You get all these traders and different websites and things giving estimates of how much the company's worth and how much they're looking to, when their earnings review comes out, how much the company's going to be worth and all the news going on in the background. So it just didn't make sense that it would be that high, and it just kept on climbing. It didn't make any sense, to me at least. Another thing that I want to just touch on is around this area here. I can't remember exactly which one it was. It's either this point here or this point here, but basically throughout the whole time, people in the social, the social chat part of the website, they'd say, oh, as soon as McDonald's says they're going to accept Beyond Meat, it's just going to skyrocket. It's going to be amazing, And it was, as I said, it was one of these 2 points. I'm not 100% sure which one. And luckily, I'd put on a buy position the day before I even knew about the news, so it was just sheer luck. But it went up a little bit, enough to make me a decent-sized profit to what I'm used to. And I thought, well, now I'm at the point now where should I close it? And, I could potentially risk not losing a lot of money, but not having, a huge win if I hold it in, because, it's McDonald's. There's the whole rumor that they're going to trial out the Beyond products. And I thought, this is big. This is probably going to, go for an all-time high from this point, and that would be, quite a lot of money to be made. But then a part of me thought, well, I think at this point it was many months into my experience, and who really knows anymore which way it's going to go. I know that there's professional traders out there which do it, for a living, and they're good at this sort of stuff. But from my point of view, half the time it just seems random. I don't know. I didn't know if it's going to go up, go down. So I took my profits, which was the right thing to do, because even though it was a McDonald's announcement, almost like a partnership to a degree with Beyond, there's trialing the product, which you'd think it would go up, but it didn't. It just went down and continues to go down and didn't really do anything. So that seemed like the best news for me out of the whole history of Beyond being on eToro. Yet it made no impact compared to this spike, which wasn't McDonald's. There might have been a few other things there. I can't remember specifically. I think they maybe had their product with some other fast food companies. But it's just little things like that. And I got to a point where I thought, who even knows if it's going to go up or down? It's because of my limited knowledge of trading. It's essentially just a gamble. It's just the whole thing, anything to do with trading, is just a big gamble. So this is when I started really losing morale. Yeah, so I did stop one or two times. I had completely given up and I withdrew all the money. And then shortly after I put it all back in, so I thought, no, I'm going to give it another go. I think the very last attempt was with was with Bitcoin. And this one I went all in on a ×2 leverage, which is, for what I had, the highest you could have gone. It hit the peak of 13,000. It was going up massively. And, I'd learned my lesson. I didn't actually put the money on here. I waited for it to go down quite a bit, probably about here. And then I put a buy position on. Thought, yeah, I'm going to make some money now. And the amount I put on was probably the biggest amount so far. I think it was like $4,000. Just put it all on Bitcoin, everything. It was on my last try and make some money, to try and pay off my credit card and my now huge amount of debt that I had gained through the eToro trading. But no, it did continue to go down a little bit, not too much. It was getting close to my 50% stop loss, but I had some faith that it would go up a bit, and it did. So I was still in there at this point, and it did go quite high. I did get back in the green. I made probably $500, and that's when I probably should have quit, but I didn't. I kind of put it back all in again about here for some reason, and then pretty much just a straight line down over the period of like 7 days, where it finally hit my 50% stop loss and just took $2,000 out of it. And then after that, I thought I'd just dabble in some, $100 here, $100 there on different companies, have like 6 open at a time on different companies. I thought I'd try and play it safe-ish, but I was still using high leverage. So that was the biggest thing that was detrimental to my experiences. I used the highest leverage that I had available to me on every single trade. So that was my problem, is try and get the money fast, overnight, really quick, highest leverage, highest risk. And it didn't pay off at all, really. I made some money along the way, but mostly I just lost it all. So it's too much of a risky procedure, too much of a risky strategy. I didn't really know what I was doing, as I said. And when I thought I was finally getting somewhere with this kind of slow strategy, it was still ×5 leverage on all the trades, but I had, like, as I was saying, like 5 or 6 companies open. Not companies, trades. And it seemed like it was going somewhere. It seemed like I was on the right track. I was making a bit of money and climbing out of the hole. But then something that I can only describe as kind of a recession hit. That's probably not the right word to use, but something happened. I think Donald Trump tweeted, and just pretty much everything just plummeted. And I think at the time I was selling gold as well. So as all the stocks were plummeting, gold went up. So I was losing from all angles. I probably lost, $600-700 on all of that. And at this point, now this is the 7 to 8 month point. I've pretty much got no money left. I've lost all hope at that point. And I thought, well, it's time to quit. It's time to just accept the fact that I've lost £10,000 now in 8 months, which is about $13,500. Money that's not even mine. It's credit card money, as I said at the beginning. 3 credit cards worth of money, $13,000. It's time to stop the addiction, stop the stress. It was really unhealthy for me for all those 8 months. There's so much stress. I could feel acid at the back of my throat the whole time. So it was just adrenaline and stress, and just waking up in cold sweats early in the morning thinking, oh no, I need to quickly look if I'm making money or losing money. It was just such a horrible experience. I don't wish that upon anyone. So, all I can say is just be very careful if you're going to trade. If you're going to use eToro, I would personally recommend to be very careful and take it slow. Use the virtual account. Please use the virtual account and, take it slow. Don't start getting loans out, trying to sort of double your money overnight or anything like that, because it's very, very much against the odds. that you're gonna, win the lottery sort of thing. So with that said, I've stopped trading solo. It's not for me. Obviously, I've given it 8 months. It was something I've always planned to do ever since, watching films and TV and stuff. You think, wow, these guys know what they're doing. They're gonna be millionaires. I want a piece of that action too. But no, it took 8 months for me to realize it's not for me. But the one thing that eToro has, which I'm very interested in still, is they have a copy trader feature, where you can basically just look for a catalog of professional traders, see all their backstory, what green months they've had, what red months they've had, a whole bunch of nice stats that you can look at and think, okay, this is the guy for me, or this is the girl for me. I'm going to add them to my watch list, or I'm just going to straight up copy them. So I think that's a really good feature. And I think, whilst paying off this $13,000 over the next 3 to 5 years, every spare money I have is going to go on that. So it's not going to be a great 3 to 5 years, but I've learnt my lesson the hard way, and I hope you don't have to learn that lesson. I hope you can take something from this video. But yeah, as I said, in the background, I'm going to do this copy trading. I've created this YouTube account so that you guys can sort of keep up to date with what I'm doing, follow me. If you're on eToro, possibly add me to a watch list. Feel free. I'm going to play it very safe now. I'm only going to copy trade. I promise I'm only going to copy trade because I suck at trading. But I know there's some people out there that can do it really well. And I've already got 6 traders that I've extensively looked through their portfolios, compared them to other people, looked at the risk factors. So yeah, I'm going to slowly make some money over a very long time, and with low leverage, because the traders that I'm looking at is typically ×1 leverage. So we're going to get there. We're going to do it. It's just going to take a while. But yeah, it's an investment. We're going to do it. But yeah, thank you for listening to my story. If you've watched the video to this far, to the end, thank you very much. And I hope you've taken something away from this experience. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Cheers.